Don't you always find that sometimes things seem to all come out at once, and you're not really sure why? But then something happens where it all starts to make sense. Welcome back to our roundup on gaming news over the past few weeks. This week we're going over some issues at Amazon's new world, and also the sheer deluge of things which have happened at Blizzard during their shareholder call on the 2nd. So don't forget to hit that like button if you find this content interesting, and let's get into the news itself. If you've been keeping up with our videos, a few weeks ago we covered a major exploit being used in Amazon's MMORPG New World. Well, it turns out the issues go far deeper, as YouTubers Josh Strife Hayes and Callum Upton did a series of videos with live demonstrations of a series of major bugs within the title. We have links to their channels in the description. The bugs ranged from the auction house not delivering gold to the player if they're offline, to a more severe bug of the player being able to inject code into the chat channels, placing images from the local games files into the chat. The bigger issue was, if the image wasn't found and a player happened to hover over the link in question, it would crash the client on their end. Older World of Warcraft players may be familiar with this, as it also appeared at some point within their game in 2004. Amazon spoke with PC Gamer on October 31st to discuss the previous issues with Immortal players rebutting the client authoritative claims that many media outlets suspected how the game was coded, brushing it off as a bug which they already fixed. The article in question is also found in the description. However, in an effort to stop one bug, the players discovered even more issues, including the ability to hand in resources for quests without actually losing them, simply by putting them up for auction first, completing the quest, and then removing the items from listings to get them back. The chat image exploit was found to have been allowing players to trigger quest completions without actually completing the quest, something which could be repeated indefinitely. That, and the auction house exploit, allowed mass gold duplication. This led to a decision by the New World developers last Monday to disable all forms of wealth transfer between players, such as sending currency, guild treasury, trading posts, and player-to-player trading. This led to a second bug being created around failed town upgrades, where gold was generated by the game and put into a company's or guild's wallet upon a failed upgrade request. So instead of removing the gold first, then giving the gold back if failed, it just gave them gold outright, similar to the original auction bug. The theory was that instead of doing the database checks before an action, the game is doing an action before the checks against the game's database. So, in theory, if you could disrupt the game after it awarded an item, or sent the item to another player before the action was complete, you can effectively duplicate anything. Simplest way of putting it, it's like pulling the link cable in Pokemon Red and Blue, where the trade was happening to dupe the traded Pokemon. This all leads to about 1 AM on Thursday morning UK time, in which, and we're not kidding with this, a 4,400 word dev blog post was published. The post went over practically all the issues the community had brought up, including server status flagging, the economy within the servers, the exploits, and how they plan to tackle gold farming, dealing with moderation, and a list of major bugs both Josh and Callum brought up in their videos. And of course again, they went into full detail on how the game is not client authoritative. It's a large post, so as always, the link is in the description. All seems to be going in a positive direction for the game, however. Before we end this section, one of our extended community members has taken note of a bug in which bans can be simply avoided just by changing the Steam account email. Let's hope that one gets fixed very quickly. And yes, you did read that image correctly. All bug and exploit reports have to be placed on their very open and very public forum to be fixed. Oh dear. In other MMO news, Final Fantasy XIV took a stand a few weeks ago against an old problem within MMORPGs: advertising raid clear sales and boosting. For those not in the know, this is the practice of taking an established group of players and offering an open place in their group for a person to buy for currency to clear content easily, or in terms of PvP, get boosted in ranking by teaming with higher ranked players. Final Fantasy XIV's Terms of Service was changed October 27th to ban the usage of the Party Finder, the game's looking for group tab, to sell clears or item farming specifically, as they found that many were fake listings leading outside the game to external sites or things like Discord to actually sell the person gold, or the actual advertised session, for real money, not for the currency in-game. Not only that, but incorrect listings were filling up the Party Finder, with wrong information making it harder for actual listings to break through. This slightly confused people about what is allowed in the Party Finder, so the team did a follow-up clarifying the following. advertising the sale of a clear or farm is against terms of service. However, requesting help for it is not. Even offering to pay a player for their time in helping is perfectly fine. Basically, flipping the script on how this is normally done. All this basically is to crack down on real money transactions, as those asking for help, by logic, will be more legitimate than those selling their services. This isn't the first time the team has taken action like this in the Party Finder, as players and bots were using it to sell housing plots for massive amounts of profit a while back, as the need for a house in the game was far greater than the game could handle, so open plots were camped out until its sale then grabbed, only for it to be on sale in the Party Finder the moment it was bought. The Final Fantasy XIV stance on raid clears and boosting is an interesting one, as in World of Warcraft this is considered normal by many, even so much as required to do if to remain competitive. In fact, it's deeply profitable in some cases. It's basically a real business for some people. There is a series of videos by YouTuber Bellular on the subject. He covers the boosting business in World of Warcraft in depth, the real money transactions, and the impact of the WoW token itself, which has completely changed the way the game is played high-end, and also how it may have ruined the competitive PvP part of the game. We have those videos linked in the description. This had a light thrown on it recently as mid-October, co-leader of Blizzard Mike Ybarra, who in a positive note is known to play and be featured in his guild's streams, actively advertised a raid clear for sale on his personal Twitter account. This hit the media quickly, inciting discussion and division over the whole situation. This may return as a large talking point with Mike's stance on the situation in the light of Jen ONeal, the other co-founder of Blizzard and former head of Vicarious Visions, has stepped down from her role as co-leader. She and Mike Ybarra took over J. Allen Brack's role when he stepped down in the light of the current allegations towards Activision Blizzard 3 months ago. No one is replacing her position, leaving Mike as the sole leader of Blizzard, which many outlets quickly pointed out makes Blizzard yet again led solely by a male. Given the recent happenings, this is not a great look. The sentiment was backed up by AbetterABK, tweeting, "This is a sad moment for many of us at ABK who are excited to have a new experience with a woman of colour heading our company. We found out during our shareholder meeting and wish Jen well in her future endeavours." Jen's move can be seen as a positive one, however, as she gave a statement on the Blizzard blog thanking the staff and Mike's support. It's quite long, but here is the core part of the statement. "I want you to hear from me personally that I have made the decision to step away from co-leading Blizzard Entertainment and will transition to a new position before departing ABK at the end of the year. Effective immediately, Mike Ybarra will lead Blizzard. I am doing this not because I am without hope for Blizzard, quite the opposite. I am inspired by the passion of everyone here, working towards meaningful, lasting change with their whole hearts. This energy has inspired me to step out and explore how I can do more to have games and diversity intersect, and hopefully make a broader industry impact that will benefit Blizzard and other studios as well. While I am not totally sure what form that will take, I am excited to embark on a new journey to find out. ABK's leadership is graciously offering their support for my decision and has worked with me on a plan to invest in the future of other women in the gaming industry by agreeing to make a US $1 million grant to Women in Games International, a fantastic non-profit organisation where I am a board member that cultivates and advances equality and diversity in the global games industry. This money will be used to fund skill building and mentorship programs." This also comes behind the news that Vicarious Visions has been fully merged into Blizzard Entertainment. According to Polygon, Vicarious Visions staff members who were working on Diablo II Resurrected, the project in which they officially joined Blizzard at the beginning of the year, were under the impression to be long-term support for Blizzard titles. With Jen moving to lead Blizzard in August, the future of the studio being independent became a question, only to be answered on October 27th. A meeting was held to announce Vicarious Visions' name had been dropped for Blizzard Albany, keeping with the Blizzard studio names being where the offices are located. With the studio being located in Albany, this effectively converts the studio fully into Blizzard. That said, while we wish Jen well in her endeavours, we are still going to keep a watchful eye in Blizzard's direction. That watchful eye took note of Activision Blizzard's third quarter investor call this past week, and we again looked to Bree Royce of Massively OP to explain all of it. Let's get the important news out of the way. The MAUs, monthly active users, the number which has been used to account for all of Blizzard's users in games, has remained at 26 million. This is a big deal, as those numbers have been consistently dropping since 2019's Blitzchung incident, where it was at 32 million MAUs. This quarter has been the first time it's remained stable and not dropped further. To be fair though, Activision Blizzard may be accused of stat padding. November 2nd saw not only the content drop for Hearthstone we covered last week, but also the World of Warcraft 915 patch, which went live the same day, bringing a large horde of features. All of this just happens to slot itself so neatly before the call, and just after Elder Scrolls Online released its content drop the day prior. In classic Blizzard fashion, thunder stealing. Not only that, but they cheekily added a cat mount to the WoW microtransaction store the week prior, which according to the like and dislike ratio on YouTube, very few were happy to see. And let's not forget the cross-promotional content these past months between Hearthstone and WoW, which, as we pointed out at the time, counts as two separate MAUs for interaction. The Activision side was supported by Call of Duty as normal, whereas Diablo did the heavy lifting for Blizzard this quarter. Most of that was owed to Diablo 2 Resurrected being popular in Korea. On the Hearthstone front, as expected, the game was stated to remain stable, considering its new mercenary mode and recent content update. Thinking back to the MAUs, having a hugely successful launch and another game being consistent, yet those numbers remain the same, this could mean those numbers were possibly lower. Diablo Resurrected boosted them back up, and we'll probably never know how low they really dropped. Continuing on, the call confirmed that the Overwatch League is still planning to switch to the Overwatch 2 multiplayer in the spring. In terms of the game itself, we got confirmation that Overwatch 2 will be delayed yet again with no date given. The same was said in regards to Diablo 4, which has had 2 leads leave the company within the last year. With both without a date or even a release window, many suspect we won't be hearing anything until 2023. Considering we recently heard that BlizzCon had been cancelled for next year, this leaves Diablo Immortal the sole Blizzard release next year, unless they are holding information back for the Game Awards in December. Outside of the things that we've already covered and the double talk Bree called them out for, the company tried to say modern WoW is in a better state than it actually was. That was most of the core of the call details. This isn't the end of Blizzard's media drop last week though. The day before the investor call, an article dropped on VentureBeat with World of Warcraft director Ion Hazakostas' first interview since the lawsuit began. VentureBeat seemed an odd choice to have an interview, but Krem here notes he thinks much like the Bobby Kotick announcement last week, the interview was not for us. The interview itself goes over the string of changes WoW has had since the lawsuit, staff morale, diversity in Blizzard, the promotion of 915, and Ion's stance on the future of WoW and his reasoning behind his design choices in content. We'll link the full interview in the description. Most of the content we have already covered in the past, but let's say reactions to the interview have been mixed, with certain personalities saying Ion's reasoning proves he's disconnected from the community's needs. This leads us to Blizzard's announcement of the World of Warcraft Community Council last week, created in an effort by Blizzard to listen to the community and to gain more detailed feedback. Blizzard are asking the player base to apply for a seat on this council. The application is open to all, and as quoted from the Blue Post, our goal is to gather more detailed feedback on all aspects of World of Warcraft from players around the world with a wide range of backgrounds and interests. Upon acceptance into the council, players will be given permission to post in a publicly viewed forum, and small groups will be allowed access to talk to developers one-on-one in video calls. As many were quick to point out though, this has already been done before. An example being the most valuable poster system, which Blizzard used to highlight community members of note on their EU forums. These people were not given any special powers, but were shown to be people that gave useful information to the players and feedback to Blizzard. Others pointed out that the existing forums themselves should act as the viewpoint of the community. Considering the PTR forum also exists, one of the wider criticisms toward Blizzard is they are ignoring feedback. Seeing that those elected to the council will only remain there for a year, Blizzard could easily say, "Oh, we listened, but we're going to ignore what you said," much in line with current frustrations of the community. A few other worries voiced from the community is that those selected will be out of tokenism, with many niche aspects of the game being ignored over what Blizzard considers to be core aspects. For example, Blizzard favouring Mythic Plus players and raiders on the council over role players or crafters, or that Ion may only choose yes men that will only reinforce his vision towards the game. Others suspect personalities will be picked over actual players, as some consider this no more than a PR stunt to show they are listening over actually doing anything, something that up until recently Activision Blizzard had been very good at doing during the lawsuits. If anyone outside of the Warcraft community who is also finding red flags throughout this, it's probably reminding them of EVE Online's Council of Stellar Management, where applicants were voted into office by the player base, which quite often led to the bigger corporations, or EVE's guilds, getting seats only interested in talking about what benefited them. Eve mirrors real life in so many ways. Of course, selecting the wrong person to represent an aspect of the community could also backfire. The less we talk about Twitch's community council, the better. As Blizzard's search for council members continue, we'll let you know if it's of any value or just one big PR stunt / disaster going forward. Pokemon Go creator Niantic were busy last week. Their next Nintendo-based product, Pikmin Bloom, went live globally. In the wake of that, they announced that Harry Potter Wizards Unite will shut down on January 31st, 2022, citing its planned 2-year story arc is about to end, and not all things last forever. This isn't the only game Niantic are closing, as back in September they announced that Catan World Explorers would be closing down. That's due next week, November 18th. Also, apparently those playing The Witcher Monster Slayer were waiting on an update last week, as the game hasn't had any news since September. As of writing, nothing has been said. Animal Crossing New Horizons has already dropped its content updates by this point, with its 2.0 update landing a day earlier than expected. However, the game enters our news cycle again with the sad news: these updates will be its last. Confirmed by IGN around a week ago, Update 2 will be the game's final free update since its launch in 2020, and the Happy Home Paradise DLC is its first and only paid DLC, completing the product. Considering its release and unintended benefit during the start of the lockdowns, which led to it amassing 34 million copies sold over its lifetime, it had a good run. In other Animal Crossing news, there is also an ongoing bug which Nintendo have warned us about. If you have your airport gates open while asking resident services to remodel a house, something could go wrong. Nintendo are advising you to close your gates beforehand. A patch should be dropping for this issue later in the month. Final Fantasy XIV had its final live letter before Endwalker in the wee hours of Saturday morning, detailing the remaining things not yet covered before the expansion's release. The 8-hour stream started with the news that the expansion had been delayed by 2 weeks. Yoshida spent a long time apologising for this delay on stream, saying that after looking at the QA feedback, yes, there is still an MMORPG that does that, the decision to delay only came into effect the Friday prior. The guy was upset, looked like he needed a hug. An editor note from Krem here is screaming, "Give him a hug, someone!" The website posted a letter by him at the same time, detailing why the game was delayed as well. The letter cites his selfishness with enacting the delay to make sure the 11-year saga ended to his satisfaction of quality. Considering Endwalker is their biggest expansion to date, and reportedly the main story quest is about the size of a standard JRPG alone, many have already forgiven him for the delay. With the dates shifting, it's now the 7th of December for release, with early access on the 3rd, raid content opening up on the 12th, and the Savage mode opening up on the 4th of January. The live letter also went into details over the new PvP system, which includes a new PvP mode replacing the Feast, and a new seasonal reward track system, which has an interesting anti-FOMO design. Crafting gets a new minigame attached to spearfishing, and housing plot purchases is getting revamped to use a lottery system. A quick heads up over the number squish coming in Endwalker: any mid-level EXP gain will be reset to 0%. For example, if your job is 60% of the way through to the next level, if you don't level the remaining 40% by Endwalker, it'll be back to the start of that level on launch. Yoshida stated that considering it's everything with an EXP bar needed to be looked at, it's either do a full clear or deal with 30 billion data points and a large downtime doing it. There is far more information during the stream, which could easily double the size of this video. Instead, the website Nova Crystallis has done a full breakdown of the event, which will be in the description. Warcraft players will be seeing the release of the progression servers of Classic in the Season of Mastery, which we covered the details of previously. Name reservation starts on November 11th, and the servers officially open up November 16th at 3 PM PST. Exact time zones of the launch and extra details we'll leave in the description below. If you're interested in Classic WoW, be it the original Classic, Season of Mastery, or Classic The Burning Crusade, you'll know that the feel of a close-knit community is one of the many features that separate the legacy servers from retail. It's no surprise then that the community came together to host a fundraiser, still running until November 14th. The event, Classic Against Cancer, starting on October 22nd according to the Tiltify page, and is hosted by Game Theory and St. Jude Play Live, raising funds for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Players can donate directly to the cause by visiting the donation page, currently sitting at $2,636 out of their $2,500 goal, or donating to one of the several class-specific supporting campaigns that get added up in the end. There's a campaign for each of the Classic WoW's 10 playable classes. The fundraiser is entirely community driven and has no formal affiliation with Blizzard. For those interested, we'll leave the information and donation page in the description down below. Wrapping up the news cycle for last week was the announcement of Mass Effect's N7 Week 2021. Starting yesterday, November 7th, and running until November 13th, BioWare released a few goodies in celebration. Up for offer this year are some new Mass Effect emoticons on the Steam store, a 24-hour sale on Legendary Edition, cosplay guides with a step-by-step guide by renowned creator Soylent Cosplay, a Mass Effect-themed art contest on Twitter, #BioWare giveaway, a big sale on the BioWare gear store, and a beautiful special edition poster print by artist Saren Stone. The poster, shown on screen now, is available as both female and male Shepard. The unsigned copies are available for purchase now, and the limited edition run of 100 signed copies per variant is out for pre-order and expected in December. Grab one while you still can. Aya literally stopped in the middle of our read-through just to grab one, so hurry while supplies last, and happy N7 week. And that's it for this week's A Few Bits of News. Tune in next Monday for more news across the gaming industry, and as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, as well as hit that bell to get notified of the next video. If you'd like to chat with us live, then come join me every Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday evening over on Twitch, link in the description. Otherwise, we'll see you below in the comments. That was recording, right? Yes, good, excellent.